Alright, so I've been experimenting around with the Amazon recently, specifically the Bowazon, specifically trying to make a really good poison Bowazon. I've been experimenting on Battle.net with a combination between cold and poison, but I decided to go on single player, go on hero editor, throw a bunch of 451s into my inventory, and then give myself a plague mercenary, rocking dual plague. In addition to that, if you were wondering, Bramble does make this a little bit stronger in terms of the poison damage, but I think that it's worth sacrificing the little bit of poison damage for the negative poison res on the enemies. Because when we're shooting them, while that poison's ticking, we got negative 35, but on swap, 110. So this is going to make a big difference, especially when he gets his lower res procs going. So Bramble, in most cases, realistically, I would say on Battle.net, you're going to use Bramble. That's what I'm using on my hybrid one. Because you're not going to get your hands on this many 451s. If you even get your hands on a single one of them. Let's be honest here. But, all that aside, let's go ahead and test what it looks like with an absolutely perfect, basically perfect in the sense of right now, best we can get poison Bowazon. I know that the poison Javazon's a lot better, but at the same time, I really feel like this is something unique, and let's see what it can do. Oh yeah, before I get started, let me go through the skill tree. So my whole thoughts were I was going to use multi-shot to give the poison to all the enemies. So then I was like, shit, might as well max out guided arrow in addition to the multi-shot. And then I had some points left over, so I was like, shit, let me get dodge, evade, and avoid. Since I have enough pierce combined with the belt, with the razor tail. So here's all the gear as well. Mist, Prang gloves, Raven Frost, razor tail. I would have had a better ring, but this was just what I was hero editing in to try to get. All I needed really was the mana steal. I don't need life steal. War Travs, arrows. Almost that. This would be like Jeweler's Tiara of Speed or some shit like that. Jeweler's Tiara of whatever. Life. Tiara of the Whale or whatever it may be. And then this would be like Archon's Plate of the Whale or something with these in it. So these would be giving life or fast. This would give maybe faster run walk. Something like that. And then we got the Death's Web and this on swap. So we really don't even necessarily need the Monald heal, because when we're on swap, we're going to be getting the life after kill and mana per kill, especially when we're taking down the crowds and stuff like that. So that's my thinking behind that. Basically, all of these stats are just for the gear. And then once again, negative 35, but 110 on swap. So we're doing some pretty good damage. It's not the most meta build, but at the same time, it's pretty impressive, and it's using the mechanics to the best of the ability. Alright, let's get in here. Let's see what we can do. We gotta watch out for these certain enemies. This is only players 1. Keep in mind too, so I mean this is like a godly amount of amazingly rare charms. So this will let you know whether or not it's worth it, because all of these are over 12 seconds. Alright, so you might be like, let's try Venom on this. Let's give it a go with Venom. What I think is the same thing that's happening to me on single player is the Venom, the time cap is just gonna ruin these, because this damage, this large amount of damage is over the course of 12 seconds, and then every time he hits him, he interrupts that damage with his melee. Okay, so let me show the same exact thing, but with Venom. So we got Venom, right? Look at the way it just cuts me off. Just interrupts me. Cuts it to 0.4 seconds and it does nothing. So Venom's good for actual poison skills. Or poison dagger, maybe even poison javelin, but not for this. So is this even a skill worth using? I would have to say no. I would have to say the poison would be better off used for some type of hybrid build. For instance, I'm not going to show you the whole build and everything like that, but this one, it's not using the swap tech. And my main attack is freezing arrow and then multi-shot. And then I got grief and voice of reason on my mercenary. So I can spam multi-shot if I want to, or I can like shoot it, move around, look for whichever enemies I really want to take out, then use freezing arrow on them, or freezing arrow to slow it, stop everybody around me, hit multi-shot just on the trash mobs as I'm moving, and they eventually drop because they take decent damage, because I got 8 enemy poison res in here, and then I got these 2. So it's not because I'm using like a lot of like 100 poison charms and stuff like that. Like I traded some 7 magic find small charms for some of these earlier today, just because I was like, let me try to really take this build as far as I can. And it's good. It's definitely not nearly as good as like just a strictly physical Bowazon, but at the same time, over time I think that it'll get better, and combined with freezing arrow and between the physical damage, the poison damage, and the cold damage, I mean, this can't go wrong with this character. I mean, it's pretty powerful. And then you got grief. It's in-game viable. It's not a farming build. It's more of one of those, just something you play for fun. Just like if you were to make a Rift Sin or whatever. But all that said, let me know if you want me to make a video on this particular one, on my actual Battle.net one. I'll do that. If you notice, I got a little burn on my lip. I made some pizza. The regular oven wasn't starting, so I used the toaster oven the other night. And I guess because the bottom of the crust was like closer to the whatever the fuck those things are called. They're not the coals. They're not coal, but you know what I mean. The little heat things, the little fucking tube things that heat up. The filaments, whatever you want to call them. Yeah. Went to go take a bite of that pizza and burned the fuck out of my lip. I didn't even know. I mean, it burnt, but next morning I woke up with some big crusty scab on my lip. Everybody have a good one. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Alright, so while wrapping up the video, it dawned on me it might actually be better to run a whole bunch of 100 poison damage small charms 100 damage over 5 seconds or 175 over 6 seconds. Those might actually be the best, a whole bunch of those 6-second charms, and then run the swap technique. Because that 12 seconds is just too long. It's just too long.